Hello and welcome to my channel. This is Roman Ragnarok, as known on the UB forums, but my real name is Jobadiah Christensen. Today we're going to talk about Ninth Age Battle Report. I've been playing in this online tournament called CoronaCon, and this is already match 4, so I skipped over matches 1 through 3, but that's alright. So it's just one more battle after this, which I am playing this afternoon actually as I speak. Anyway, I'm just going to go through Battlefort. This is played on UB, which is Universal Battler. And so American guys, Jeremy Schweitzer, set up this tournament for people to play in since we're kind of all in lockdown during the pandemic and not able to really do much. So here we are. I'm playing Sylvanels, and in round 4, I'm playing this guy, Sevi from Germany, who's playing the Dread Elves. Let's take a look at the lists. This is the list. We actually had the option in this tournament to switch the list every round if you wanted, but you had to keep the same army. I did not. I decided, you know what? I just want to try this list, see how it does. I'm going to play it for 5 games because you really need to play an army for at least 5 games to get a picture of how it does against various opponents and various scenarios. So here we are. This is my list. It's very experimental. After playing in the last tournament, I've become pretty disillusioned with Magic. I don't feel like Magic does a whole ton for Sylvanos, so I tried not Magic. And if you don't take Magic, you can actually take a whole ton, right? So I've got one character. He's a Forest Prince. He's got Destiny's Call. He's got Titanic Might, and he's a shapeshifter. Okay. Now, for those who are not familiar with Sylvanels, um, a Destiny's Call is a common magic armor. It gives you armor 4 and a 4-up Aegis, or armor 3. So basically you have a 4-up armor save and a 4-up Aegis save, which is a special save. Okay? And then Sylvan Blades uh, give you an extra attack. Sylvan Blades are like paired weapons, but they're the Sylvan Elves version. They give you extra AP. So this guy is AP 3 all the time, and with Titanic Might, it's plus 3 strength. So he has 6 attacks at strength 7 all the time. Because Shapeshifter gives him an extra attack. Shapeshifter also gives him resilience 4. He causes fear, which I often forget. He has advanced movement 6 and march movement 18, and Vanguard. So he's pretty quick. I try to leverage that in all my battles, but he hasn't really been that successful in this tournament. The Glyph of Amaryl gives him plus 3 defense in a duel, which has not really come into play. It just gives him, so basically his defense 10 in a duel. And, but the more important thing about it, why I actually put it on here, is that he cannot be stomped. Because I really wanted this guy to fight monsters with 6 strength, 7 attacks. If he can't be stomped, with a 4 Aegis save, he can actually kill monsters. But I haven't been able to get him into contact with monsters in this tournament, so that's kind of been a waste. And then they took Dragonfire Gem just so that magic, fire wouldn't be able to hurt him so much. Then the rest of my list is actually pretty basic. I call this list tens, right? For obvious reasons. It's just every unit is 10 of something. So I've got 5 units of 10 Sylvan Archers with musicians, so that's 50 arrow shots. That's all core. I've got 4 units of 10 Dryads, which are also core. I have a ton of core in this list. They're all scoring. I also have a ton of scoring, which was terrible on Capture the Flags, which was, I think, Battle 3. Terrible, terrible match. 4 units of Dryads is the most Dryads you can bring in a standard army. So I wanted to bring the max Dryads and max Archers and max Blade Dancers. I brought 3 units of 10 Blade Dancers. It's actually not max Blade Dancers because you can bring units of 15. Technically, you could bring 3 units of 15, but I brought 3 units of 10 because I'm keeping with the list idea of 10. And then I brought 4 units of 10 Rangers. I think 4 Ranger units is the most you can bring as well. So, though you can go up to units of 30 if you want. So anyway, that's the list. I've got a lot of shooting. Also, every single model. So the Dryads do two attacks each. Blade Dancers do 2 attacks each, and Rangers do 2 attacks each. So it's actually more advantageous. The theory behind this list is, you get more benefit from attacks if you spread out your attacks because you really want the front rank to be the one attacking. So I took smaller units, right? And 10 is the smallest ranger unit you can bring. And you can actually bring Blade Dancers in units of 7, but I figured I just wanted to do 10s for this. Um, Anything else to say about my list before we jump into the actual battle? Um, I'll talk about what I kind of learned through this tournament probably at the end. So anyway, that's the whole theory. The whole theory is basically if I could get like dryads on the front of a unit and play dancers and rangers on the other flanks of it, I would do like one unit of 10 dryads has 15 strength 4 attacks, 10 play dancers do essentially if they do the +1 attack dance, they actually this would pump out 21 strength 4 attacks. So we're already at 36 strength 4 attacks, and then rangers on the other flank is another 15 strength 5. So you're looking at a ton of damage if you can actually get 3 units onto one unit, but that has never worked in this tournament. That was the whole theory behind this list, is that I would do that and just obliterate units. That the fact of the matter is, my opinion was you didn't need ranks because you were just gonna triple charge units and just destroy them. But I haven't been able to maneuver into that position. So apparently I'm really bad, I guess. Anyway, that was the whole theory behind my list. The guy I was playing with Dread Elves, it's actually a pretty offensive melee list, which I should have recognized before played because I kind of fed into his hand. But anyway, he's got a Oracle with Witchcraft Master. Ring of Shadows is actually really cool. It gives distracting to that unit. So that was really smart of him to put on. His Dread Prince on a Raptor Chariot. This guy has like a 1-up armor save and then a 4-up Aegis save, and he's resilience 5. Like I couldn't kill him. I tried to kill him, I couldn't kill him. He's just too to me this is too good. For 560 points, this guy is really good, and I don't like that they can get a resilience 5. I mean, I could have taken an Elk Lord, which I guess is about the same. So I guess it's my fault, but anyway, this guy's really good in my opinion. He also had a Captain BSB on a Raptor Chariot. Um, So, Raptor Chariots are kind of nasty, I found out. These units of 10 Dark Raiders with repeater crossbows put out a ton of attacks, and I tried to shoot them and deal with them, but I really couldn't. So these guys were bad news for me. The Corsairs I actually dealt with pretty well, but just for scoring. Dens of the Yuma also have scoring. These guys are actually cheaper than Blade Dancers. I think that needs to be looked at. I told the opponent after the battle that they're actually cheaper than Blade Dancers. If I had a choice between Dancer the Yuma or Blade Dancers in my list, I'd rather have Dancer the Yuma. I think they're just as offensive as Blade Dancers, and they're better defensive than Blade Dancers, in my opinion, because they have a 4-up Aegis all the time against melee. So the only thing they're lacking, I think, is MR1 and Hard Target 1, but let's be honest, that really doesn't do that much. So Hard Target 1 does somewhat. I don't think MR1 really does jack unless you have other sources of magic resistance in the unit. So, anyway. Uh, and then the Tower Guard have heavy armor. And then these guys have halberds, I think. So they were strength 5. So I did not want to fight them in combat either. Though I did. And then the Divine Altar. Which also has a 4 pages save. I thought he would put this in one of his units. He actually had this running around by itself. So I did not anticipate that. And then he had another Raptor Chariot. So he had 3 chariots for zoning. Um, so as you can see, comparing my list to this list, it's not. um, I don't think it's a good matchup because I can't handle the Raptor Chariots at all. The Resilience 5. And they outrange my Rangers. So I can never really get my Rangers into the Chariots, which is really the only thing I have that can fight them except for my Lord. And he's got 3 chariots. My lord can only handle 1 chariot at a time, and as I found out, my lord couldn't even handle this guy. So I had nothing that could handle this guy if he just wanted to come at me. He could have, or he was timid. I couldn't really handle the captain either, so I couldn't handle his 2 characters. And then I was in wrong position to handle this chariot. So anyway, that was the lists. The scenario was secondary objective, hold the ground. So that means you need to have as many scoring units as you can in the middle, which should favor me. Um, but my units are so small they just get obliterated when they get charged. So, and that's refused flank. I still haven't really figured out how to play refused flank. This is on map 14, as we'll look at next. And yeah, I don't really know how to deploy on refused flank. I think I always deploy wrong. So this is how we deployed. I actually dropped to go first. My thought being I wanted to shoot his Dread Riders so that they wouldn't be an issue later. and they were an issue later because after I dropped like this, he dropped like this, so I couldn't really get that much shooting onto it that I wanted. And anyway, in hindsight, I think I should not have dropped to go first, or I should have dropped to go first but dropped back here, kind of through the water or something. Yeah, he got to pick the side, so I got to deploy first, but I don't think I deployed very well. This is how I've basically been deploying all tournament, and it's not worked out for me. I tend to put my lord on the flank, even though he's my general for leadership, but my guys don't really need leadership in my opinion, so. Anyway, then we did Vanguard moves. So I Vanguarded up behind the wall, and then he Vanguarded around like this. Then I moved, right? I think my move was wrong. I moved my Dryads way forwards, because these Dryads were intending to march block his riders. I didn't think his riders could reform and move around them over here. My intent was if they did, I would just charge them. I thought it would march block him. I thought I had, but maybe I should have moved closer down here so he couldn't get around, but they could just ride around this way. And then I pushed these guys forward a few inches. Turns out, that was too close. That was too close. I moved him, I think, within 16 inches of this unit. And as we'll see what happens, I didn't think he would charge at all, but he's gonna charge. So anyway, this is what I did. I just pushed forward a little bit. I used my Dryads to push forward because they're a resilience 4 and a 5 up Aegis, so in my opinion they have the best defenses in my whole army. So I often push them forward, just daring people to charge them. I also thought strength 4 attacks they'd be able to do pretty well against elves, but and that's about it. And then I bring this flank up. But I had to march these units because they were too far back. They couldn't shoot. So yeah, this unit with the X red, he had to march, so I couldn't shoot him. That's why they had the X. That's all I did. Then I did some shooting. So as you can see, I shot this unit at. I don't think I might have shot it at the chariot just to see. I didn't get anything. I think this unit shot at the coursers. I killed 2. And then these 2 units I wanted to shoot at the riders, but I'm not even sure if they were able to. So I didn't really do much with my shooting on turn 1, which was the big problem. That's why I dropped to go first, and I couldn't really, my shooting didn't really do anything. So that was a mistake on my part. Then it was his moves, and this is where stuff started to go pretty badly. So if you see this, he charged his BSB into the flank of my Dryads, right? Which I kind of expected, but I thought their resilience 4, they're going to be able to hold. And then he charges his Dancers and his other chariot into these Dryads, which I did not think he would be able to do. In my opinion, that was too far. It was too risky. He did it. He had Swift Stride. He needed an 11, and he got it with the Dancers. So he took my bait, and he was successful. And then it's just bad news. And then he just pushes forward with his Tower Guard because he knows I can't really deal with those. Corsairs just hang back, and he moves his chariot up under the hill. Basically, his general and my general just kind of stare at each other most of the battle, just trying to protect each of our flanks. So then he does his damage. He breaks these Dryads and they run, but he does not pursue. He just turns. His other, the Dancers and the Chariot just destroy, obliterate my 10 Dryads here, and they overrun into my Rangers. Now these Rangers had gotten shot up by his Dark Riders. Yeah, that was not fun. I didn't expect that. So that was bad. So then I decide on this turn to charge with these Dryads. I'm trying to remember why these Dryads didn't charge in the front. Oh, so I thought, so my Dryads charge in the flank. And I didn't charge in the front because I knew he has 2 attacks on the front and he's just going to chew this unit up, I thought. I thought that in the flank I had a chance at breaking it because he's not steadfast. He's 8 wide, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah, he's 8 wide. So he does what I normally do, and he's not going to be steadfast. Normally, when I'm not steadfast, someone charges me in the flank and I break. So I charge him in the flank. But as we see, he doesn't break. So I have some decisions to do on my turn. I think about charging Blade Dancers into the Dancers of Yuma, but I decide that it's actually better for me to shoot them because I realized that they don't actually have that much defense against shooting. Right? So what I do is I move the blade dancers over so that they can't charge my archers. They have to hit them. I move my archers up, so these 3 units are actually going to just shoot this dancer unit up. And that's basically what I do this turn, right? So then on my shooting, these 3 units shoot him up. See how many wounds I did? Like a unit got obliterated by my shooting, which was really good. And I should have been smarter and done that on turn 1. But they were in the ruins on turn 1, so they were harder to hit. They had hard cover. And then I just took more shots at him because I figure if I roll any 5s or 6s, maybe I can get some wounds through. No wounds through. But there wasn't much else for these guys to shoot at on this flank because I was in combat with the tower guard. And they couldn't really see the coursers very well. So that was an issue too. And then I just keep him at bay. I'm trying to sneak around, but he's too good at moving his chariot. I know if I move too close, he's just going to charge me. So I'm not really sure what to do with my lord, right? And then this guy reformed, and now this unit's dead, right? So now what he does is he moves up. He charges my blade dancers with both units. He moves these guys up. He's just going to shoot up my interior because these guys have no defenses. And he's just zoning with his chariot, right? So he destroys that unit. He shoots up my rangers. He shoots up 2 ranger units. I think he uses crossbows to shoot at my archers with his BSB. The good news is my blade dancers do their 3-up Aegis save dance, so they actually survive this. He says he really doesn't like blade dancers after this battle because of my 3-up Aegis save. They were just a pain for him to deal with, so I so far have not been successful with them in the tournament, but after they're able to hold up these 2 units on the flank for a long time, I have a different impression of blade dancers. So in my turn 3, what I do is I charge. Now I want my rangers to charge his riders. But to do that, I have to charge my dryads in. So I charge my dryads in. My rangers charge his riders, but his riders flee, so they're all the way over here. And then I actually charged with both. Now that these fled, these rangers are going to flee them. So I figure if I can get my rangers in the front and these rangers in the flank, maybe I can defeat his altar and then overrun into his BSB and kill his BSB too. Because I figure rangers are, in my opinion, that's the best thing I have to kill his altar and that. So that's what I do, right? Well, let's see what happens. He actually, when these rangers, I think I declared these rangers first, and he's standing shot. So now there's only 2, well, something like that. And then the other rangers fail. They're not able to complete it. It's too far. So now I only have like 1 guy who finishes the charge, and 1 guy into an altar is not going to do anything. So this was just bad. My other plan is that these 3 units are going to shoot up this unit. My plan was that I would totally annihilate it. Well, on my shooting phase, I shot them and he only lost 2 from 20 shots. And then this 3rd unit, maybe this 3rd unit should have shot at them, but he decided to shoot at coursers because I don't want them to come in. And then these 2 units shot at the tower guard. So I did kill some tower guard between combat and shooting, but not a whole ton. Oh no, they must not have shot at him because I had dryads there. So never mind, they didn't shoot at them. I don't know who they shot at. I don't remember. Anyway, I'm sorry. I don't remember who shot at whom, but as you can see, I'm not really doing that many wounds from shooting. So now it goes on to his turn. He charges his riders into my archers, which I maybe should have fled from, but I actually thought that I'd be able to hold because it's not that many Dark Riders. And in a previous battle, my archers had gotten charged by a Kadim Titan, and they actually did a wound to it. So I figure, hey, maybe I can do some wounds to these Dark Riders. He charges my Rangers in the flank, which always happens to me in these battles. And then I moved my Lord down here because I'm realizing I'm never going to get around the top to outflank him. So I move it down here. I figure maybe I can move it down and get into these units down here. Um, so then on his turn, he of course destroyed my rangers, overran into my archers. Bad news was I only killed one Dark Raider. He won that combat. I broke. He pursued, he caught, and because that unit broke, these archers that were down here, they rolled a 9 on their discipline. So they panicked and they ran off the table. So I lost so many points in this one turn. Anyway, so we're on turn 4, right? So now this is my position on turn 4. We're theoretically only halfway done with the battle, but it's really looking really bad for me. And I'm realizing at this point, I have a couple options. Um, I can just push everything in and hope that I hope that I get some points, or I can withdraw and save some points and try to get 1 or 2 points out of this battle because I realize that if I try to push in, I'm probably just going to lose everything and get a 20-0, get 0 and 20. And I never ever want to get a 0 and 20. That's my pride and joy is that I know I don't get 0 and 20. So I decide on my movement phase, I pull back. I pull back my blade dancers. I pull back my archers. I actually push forward my rangers because I realized that I can't get them out of a charge range. And if I leave them where they are, he can charge with his chariot, kill them, and overrun into my archers. Whoops. So here we are. So what I decide to do is I push them forwards, kind of sacrificing them, but they're only 220 points. I pull my blade dancers back, and then I move my lord over, because finally I can get my lord out of arc of the chariot. So I figure if he charges them, I can then charge my lord into the chariot. That was my plan. So now on my shooting, these 2 units shot up the Corsairs and caused a panic, so they fled, which was good. And that's basically all that happens, because my plan was for this unit to not flee, and I wanted them to shoot the unit and kill these 2 and get those points. But because they fled off the board, I couldn't shoot the 2 dancers, because if I just kill those 2 dancers, I get 600 points for that whole unit. And I wasn't able to kill that unit, and that really bummed me out. I was really upset at this point. So I even though I was upset, I was still trying to think calmly. I pulled back. I did what I could. Well, turn 4, he charges with his chariot in. He called it taking the bait. He actually was able to rally his coursers, unfortunately, and then he's able to move. No, this unit shouldn't be there. He moves his units up to shoot at my blade dancers. His shooting does a lot of damage to them because, like I said, they only have hard target 1. They're actually pretty easy to shoot at close range like this. And they only have a 6-up Aegis saves, which means I save like 1, right? 6-up Aegis save doesn't save enough. In my opinion, Blade Dancers need to have a 5-up Aegis save all the time or something. 6-up just is basically like they have nothing, right? I'd rather have no Aegis save and then cost less than have a 6-up Aegis save and have them be the price value that they are. Because I don't feel like it really does anything. 6-up Aegis save helps. If you have like a peasant levy unit and you have 50 guys, then being able to save on 6s helps. But when you have 10 guys in a unit, a 6 doesn't really matter. So anyway, he of course destroys my whole ranger unit. I don't even know if they get any attack backs. They did, because they did 1 wound to him. So I did 1 wound to him out of what was there. And then I charge in. I charge my prince in because I figure he's got 1 wound. I just have to do 2 wounds and he's dead. And then I charge my blade dancers into these guys. So I charge them in and kill them. And then these 2 units just keep shooting at this Corsair unit because I want to destroy them and get points. Well, now it's his turn. On the previous turn, he had done 2 wounds to me, and I had only done 1 to him. He failed his armor saves. I'd gotten 3 wounds through, but then he made all of his Aegis saves. So for a minute there, I thought I'd done it. I thought I'd killed his prince, his general, and that would have been a huge advantage. Because his prince was 560 points, and then 200 for the general. That would have been over 750 points, and then my prince would have been able to. At that point, he hadn't taken any wounds. Then I would have been able to harass and done a lot. But he actually made his Aegis save, so he only took 1 wound. He did 2 to me in return, and now I'm in trouble. I thought he would charge in with his all this stuff and just destroy my Blade Dancers, but he decides he's just going to shoot them. Well, his shooting does nothing. So now it's my turn. He killed my prince, because he only had one wound left. He killed my prince, and now my thought process is I can either take these Blade Dancers and move them into the woods so that they don't get killed, because then they'll be out of charge arcs, and he probably won't be able to shoot them up because they'll be have cover and be hard target. So I can save 330 points, just move him into the woods, or I can charge his BSB. I figure his BSB's already got one wound in him. He's only got 2 wounds left. I've got 4 Blade Dancers and a champion. That's, if I do +1 attack, I've got like 13 attacks, right? Although I actually didn't do my +1 attack. I did the lethal strike attack because I figure he's only got like a high armor save. So I figure if I do lethal strike, I just have to roll some 6s and I can kill his BSB. Then I'll get BSB points and I can save this unit, right? That'll help me out. No, I charge in, they do no wounds, and he just kills him. And that's the battle. So there are a couple things I did. I felt like they were kind of smart towards the end of the battle. I thought I had a chance of killing his prince. I thought I had a chance of killing his BSB, and that would have been a pretty different battle score, to be honest. Yeah, and then he just moved up and shot my archers on his turn. So it ended. I killed 867 points because I couldn't finish off the Dance of Yuma. I couldn't finish off the coursers. My prince failed to kill his prince, and I failed to kill his BSB. Those were my options. So I only killed 867. I felt like I killed a lot more. And he killed 3812 from me because all I had left was 2 archer units and this blade dancer unit. Maybe I should have been more aggressive with the blade dancers. I don't know. Maybe they could have survived with a 3-up Aegis save against this prince. Maybe I should have advanced, been more aggressive with them. But whatever. So battle ended in 1-19. I maintained my streak of at least getting 1 point in every battle, even though most people probably would have gotten a 0 in that. And that was match 4. So thanks for watching. What I've learned from this battle and from others is that I like my list. On theory, on paper it looks really good, but it's really hard to play. It's really hard to play MSU, and especially MSU that doesn't have any flying or cav or quick movers except for my general. MSU doesn't really work. I found out everything is movement 5 and March 10, and so there's just too many units. I can't really move. I'm finding that there's too many units for this size board. I think MSU with this army would work if you had unlimited turns and if I had a larger or unlimited board size, like in a real battle. In a real battle, you have unlimited board size and you have unlimited turns. In a 9th age battle where you have a limited board size and only 6 turns, it doesn't really work. The other thing I've learned is that 9th age, from playing this battle, is it seems like 9th age favors armies who can apply large amounts of pressure in small amounts of area. And they do that by having medium to large sized units, right? You can see he's basically got 2 combat blocks, shooting, and 3 chariots. That's really his army, right? Because I don't think the coursers are really that great. So he's got 2 medium combat blocks, and then he just supports their flanks with chariots, right? And then he uses magic. So what you do in 9th age, what I've figured out from this tournament, is you apply pretty large amounts of force by decently sized combat blocks supplanted by magic to make them even better in a small amount of area. None of my units can stand up to any of his units 1-1. I need to have 3-on-1. Because of his chariots and other things, I can never actually outflank and get 3 units on 1. And so my army list just doesn't work. That's what I've learned. I've already been theory crafting a new Sylvan Elf list that actually does have magic. My new list that I want to play with next has 3 adepts. So we'll see when I play with that. I have one more battle with this list in this tournament. It's against the Beast Herds guy later on today. I'll do a video like this. Hope you enjoyed this. Hope you learned something about how not to play Sylvan Elves, how not to play MSU. I don't know. What do you guys think about this Dread Elf list? What do you guys think about my Sylvan Elf list? Outside of Deploying further back, what I learned is that my shooting, I every single time in this tournament, I deploy my shooting too far forward. I should deploy it back and take advantage of my shooting because I have 50 shots, and I'm often not able to take advantage of that because people just charge in and overrun, and it just destroy 3 units in one turn. Um, yeah, so maybe I should have just deployed everything back and then waited for him to come to me and then just shot him up and then charged in with my units. But I always want to outflank, and so I deploy like this so I can outflank, and I can never ever outflank. So that's my problem. Thanks for watching this video. Sorry if it got a little long. And hope you have a good luck in your battles.